I think we are recognizing the important work that George Brizan has done at the national level. I'm honored and humbled to be asked to reflect on my interactions with George Brizan. It is a challenge, it is difficult for me to be brief because we have a teacher, a mentor, an author, a historian, an economist, a politician, and national leader. As a teacher and mentor, I first encountered George in 1972-73. And what has stuck in my mind is his sincerity to teaching, but connecting teaching with agriculture. You know, I recall in 1972-73, George gave us, the sixth form students, a challenge. He said, guys, you know, that was a time of a lot of disruptions in the country. He said, imagine that you were the minister of government. What would you do to change this country? And so he gathered a number of us and gave us different sectors to write on. Me, this person from Karakou, he put agriculture for. I knew nothing about mainland agriculture. All I knew was about cotton, limes, you know, things that go in Karakou, livestock, running down behind sheep and goats and cattle. But out of that experience, George led me through, and he gave me some lessons on Grenada agriculture. I tried to give him a bit on Karakou agriculture, but the focus was on Grenada agriculture. And it was through this experience, George as a teacher and a mentor, that motivated me, as it were, to look towards agriculture as a career. Let me go back to the challenge that he gave us. So we all wrote our pieces, and he published it in a book called The Maroon and Saraka. I've not seen a copy for a long time. I think it's out of publication. But that was George's way of stimulating and driving us to understand our environment and to contribute to national development. Unfortunately, I don't think any of us became ministers of government, but we all ended up in careers that provided for the development of this country. In his second role, George, as an author, he linked that with produce the Grenada industry, the black gold, classic. And I believe that is supposed to be a centerpiece in the museum. As a politician, what can I say? As a teacher, he was the best. There was no other as good as him. But as a politician, I think he went a little higher. Who could recall George walking in the fields with his long water boots, eating with the farmers the simple meals, showing them, motivating them, and inspiring them to excel in the production, just as he motivated us, his students, to excel in what we did. So George was an author. politician. He tried to get me involved in politics. You know, after the intervention, we tried to form the first party, the National Democratic Party, the NDP. And I don't see anybody else was there. I can't remember if Mr. Donald was there. Yes. And so that was my introduction into the politics. And it is in my blood. I cannot get it out. But I cannot put it forward either. So it is within. So I do what I can because of George. What else can I say about George? He was a leader. He led by example. He talked the talk, and he walked the walk. And that was catching because his humility played a part in pulling people together. He was a uniter. That is what my experience was with George Brizan. I do not want to repeat some of the things that Damini has said, which I've experienced, but as a man of faith, I am sure where George is sitting now, he's looking down on us, and he must be smiling for what he's seeing happening here. Let us all use this facility in the name of George Brizan and make sure that it produces and enhances national development. Thank you.